Hello, this is a video that is in my math textbook that I just did for homework. Funny thing is that this is my third time recording this video. I got interrupted twice because some people came to St. Louis. I even got a bit of the way through, which is why there's some erased stuff here. Actually, both of the times I got a little bit through. Anyways, let's go on with the problem. Suppose that f of x equals 3 sine x. Solve for f of x equals 3 over 2. So first I'm going to say that if A implies B and B implies C, then A implies C. So I could say 3 sine x is equal to 3 over 2. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 3, because 3 sine x does me no harm. So it's going to be 3 over 2 times 1 over 3, which is equal to 1/2. Now, important to remember that that is sine x. So now from here, what you can do is you can solve the inverse of it and say sine to the minus 1 of 1/2 is equal to x. Now how you do this is you plug this into the calculator, you turn it on. You can see I already did this, so it shows up. It's 30 degrees. Now, important thing to notice, if you draw your unit circle, and you have 30 degrees right here, that means that since it's a sine, and which on a unit circle is just a y coordinate, it's going to also have the same thing right here when this angle is 30, meaning that this right here is 150. So now you actually have two values for x, 30 and 150. The next thing we need to do is we need to turn them into radians. So, it's hard to write with only one hand. 2 pi equals 360. If I divide by 12, that means that 30 is pi over 6. Important thing to note, because we're going to use this to solve for our equation for this. Now how I do this is, how I'm going to do this for 150 is I'm going to try and find common factors. So this has a 30 as a factor. This also has a 30 as a factor. So if I can get this down to 30, then I can just multiply by 5 to get this. So again, I'm going to divide by 12. And like we did over here, we have pi over 6 is 30 degrees. And so now since they have the same factors, I can just multiply by 5 on both sides. And if I have 5 pi over 6 is 150 degrees. So now I have both values of x. And the next thing I need to note is that the period of sine is 2 pi. Okay? So the equation for all of it will be for all values of x, or here, let's just choose this example. It'll be x plus 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6. X equals 5 pi over 6 plus 2k pi. And so whatever value of k is, that will determine how many times it goes around the circle. And then if you choose the other x1, which is pi over 6, it'll be x equals pi over 6 plus 2k pi. So now we basically solved the answer for A. All we're going to do is write it in proper notation for all values of x. X is equal to pi over 6 plus 2k pi, or x is equal to 5 pi over 6 plus 2k pi. Okay, so that is how you would write the answer to A. So that would be the answer to A. And then you would circle this off. Okay, today I'm having a little bit of trouble holding the camera. Okay, now we're on to B. For what values of x is f of x greater than 3 over 2 on the interval from 0 up to, but not including 2 pi? So this looks a little hard if you just look at this to plug in 3 sine x. But a thing to note is that these two are equal, so wherever it puts 1, I can just write the other. So I'm just going to write 3 sine x in place of f of x. So it's just greater than 3 over 2. Okay, so it needs to be greater than 3 over 2. Now let's note that that means that sine of x is greater than 1/2, as we showed above when we divided by 3. So if we go over here and we draw a unit circle, remember that we have this over here, and this is where it was whatever x coordinate, and then 1/2. And over here, this is where the sine is greater than 1/2 because it's higher up. And we don't really care about the x value because the sine's only the y value in the unit circle. So it will be anything right over here. So this angle right here is the 30, which is the pi over 6. So x needs to be greater than pi over 6. But it also needs to be less than this angle, which is 5 pi over 6. That would be your answer to B. Thanks for watching. I guess I talked a little fast or quietly at the beginning of this video. Sorry about that. And I was a little wheezing or out of breath. But thank you for watching, and thank you.